There's a new sign on the basement floor. It has a broken tube and it's a personal historical item for me. The outer tube is broken and just held together by the paint coating, and I'm telling a bit about my personal neon history and collector life in this video, if you're interested in that. I have always liked colorful lights since I was a child, light bulbs on the fairground, Christmas lights, fireworks and so on. At maybe 12 I started to notice neon, and Germany never had much neon, but I remember a few signs on businesses in my area. For example, this one that was my very first upload to the YouTube channel. One of these was in a kiosk in my hometown. When I was about 14, I wired my parents' house for our first dial-up internet connection, which was very slow, and started browsing for neon, admiring the signs on American eBay and finding some expensive offers in Germany. And then when I was 15, I went on holiday to New York City with my parents and saw a lot of nice beer signs in reality that I knew from the internet. So one day there, we returned from a bus tour and we walked out of the bus terminal, and that Red Hook sign caught my eye in a small deli across the street. So that's the personal historical connection to finding this Red Hook sign right now. That's our real analog photo from back then. The bus terminal was on the left side, and the deli window has the Red Hook and a Budweiser bow tie, and on the right side that should be a Heineken text with the red star above it. I wanted to own a neon sign badly, and at this moment I didn't know how I could get one safely home to Germany, but I still went into that store and asked if they would sell one of their signs. And the staff was very friendly, and he said, "Hey, we have another one in the back and the window is full, so you can have that." And he brought out the red dog sign and gave me that for free, which was totally awesome. He also said he'll give me another one with a broken tube. He showed me, but with my parents already rolling their eyes, I just took the red dog sign back to the hotel room. It was before 9/11, and airlines were not as strict in regards to not taking technical things as luggage, but I feared they would not let me take it because of the contained gas, so I disassembled it in the hotel room and shipped the tubes to my German home address. I remember walking to the post office in New York City and buying a box and a roll of bubble wrap, and I shipped myself those parts. And I wanted to take the metal frame as the carry-on luggage then. Well, now I was infected with the neon sign virus, and I persuaded my parents until they let me get that second sign, which was a Bud Light with the New York City skyline, a very unique and city-specific sign. The red tube was broken, and I shipped the parts the same way, and while the red dog tubes arrived fine, the Bud Light tubes were inspected by customs and they just carelessly pushed them back into the box, so more tubes were broken, and only the Bud Light text was still fine. And I kept all those parts for almost 20 years until I could finally remake them myself in 2017. These are photos from the repair, and I also remade the Bud Light text so that all the blue tubes have the exact same color. Yeah, now I have the red hook that I've known for so long and remembered for so long, and I'm going to remake that outer tube in nice Novile gold glass and probably those three lines too, so again everything has the same shade of color. Those parts are too big and too high for my dipping tank, so I have to hand brush them, and I'm saving a bit of work by using black electrical tape for straight runs, which gives a very quick and sharp edge. I'm going to change this transformer because it's a 120 volt model and I would need an additional transformer to power it here. And also because it is an early model that does not have a dimmer and I like to be able to dim my signs. So I opened these connections. These electrode sleeves sometimes come off a bit hard and you have to be really careful that you don't break the electrode off when you try to get them off. And it usually helps to cut them in along the glass of the electrode like this, like I did here. Now get in. And maybe just a ½ inch or less will be enough, so you can then peel it off from the blockout paint from the electrode and carefully rotate it and then pull it off. And if you only had to cut it in a little, then you can still cut them off straight here and they will most likely still be long enough to be used again. So here's the new European Evertron. They have the IEC power connector, and the American usually have this 3-pole wire. And the way these housings make earth contact to the frame is with this screw. I don't know if you can see the symbol. Here's the grounding symbol, and here's like a toothed washer. So when you screw this tight to the frame, then this washer will dig into the paint on the frame, and the screw, the inside thread part of this, where the screw sits in, is connected to the ground pin internally. Okay, so let's get this one off. I just put the tubes on loosely real quick to decide for a sequence of how I want to wire them and if it makes more sense to mount the transformer like this or like that, and I'm going for this side. I haven't really nicely painted all these areas with blackout paint where the yellow tube comes from below, so I will do this fine adjustment on the sign now and touch up all these positions when the sign is illuminated and standing in front of me.